Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Don Arleth, and you're watching World News, coming to you live from Warsaw. Yet another body has been discovered under the rubble of a building in the Ukrainian capital, bringing the death toll of the mass Russian airstrike on Sunday to 4. A search team recovered the body of a man in Kyiv on Monday morning. Apart from the man, 3 people, including a woman and her 2-month-old baby, were also killed in the Sunday strike, and more than 40 others were wounded. The Russian attack also hit a government building for the first time since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to President Zelensky, Ukraine was struck by more than 800 drones and 13 missiles. Ukraine expects a strong response from its allies in the wake of Russia's latest mass airstrikes, said Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in his Sunday evening address.
It is obvious that Russia is trying to hurt Ukraine, and the attacks are becoming more brazen. This is a clear sign that Putin is testing the world to see whether it will accept this. Therefore, it is important that the statements of leaders, states and institutions are followed up with strong actions, sanctions against Russia, against individuals associated with Russia, and strong tariffs and other restrictions on trade with Russia. Their losses must be felt. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine is informing all partners about the latest Russian escalation. We are counting on a strong response from America. That is what is needed.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday that certain European leaders will visit Washington on Monday and Tuesday to discuss how to bring Russia's war in Ukraine to an end. Speaking to reporters at Joint Base Andrews, Trump also said he would be talking to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, over the next couple of days.
Well, we're going to see. I mean, we have some very interesting discussions. You know, certain European leaders are coming over to our country on Monday or Tuesday, and individually. And I think we're going to get that settled. When do you plan
to speak to President Putin next, as well as
Very soon, over the next couple of days. Look, we're going to get it done. The Russia-Ukraine situation, we're going to get it done. I have confidence we're going to get it done.
Shortly before 10 p.m. on Sunday, police in Terespol were alerted to the discovery of an unidentified flying object near the Polish-Belarusian border. The site is now secured, and prosecutors and emergency services have been notified. Another reminder that unidentified intrusions into Polish airspace, often of Russian origin, remain a recurring concern.
Today, shortly before 10 p.m., the duty officer of the Terespol police station received a report from border guard officers about the discovery of the remains of an unidentified flying object near the border crossing in Terespol, in the village of Polityce. All emergency services have been notified of the incident. We also relayed relevant information to the district prosecutor's office in Biała Podlaska. The discovery site is being secured. No one was injured in connection with the incident.
A spokeswoman for the local prosecutor's office, Agnieszka Kępka, said that Monday that the drone was likely unarmed and bore markings in Cyrillic. The UAV crashed about 300 meters from the border crossing in Polityce in the Lublin region. Now, the site has been secured with military police on the scene. A press conference has been scheduled for 12 o'clock p.m. Central European time. Supporters of Aleksandar Vučić took to the streets of several cities across Serbia on Sunday in opposition to nationwide blockades planned for the same day. Vučić joined the thousands of people in the protests.
Sunday saw thousands of demonstrators expressing support for President Vučić and opposing the ongoing student-led protests triggered by the collapse of a railway station roof in Novi Sad, which killed 16 people. The student movement in Serbia, which has been protesting since last November, accuses Vučić's government of corruption and demands accountability for the Novi Sad incident, the release of all documents related to the train station renovation, as well as snap elections. Asked about the purpose of their rally, Vučić supporters said that after months of unrest across the country, they finally want a normal life, to work, study, and move freely. President Vučić himself was also in attendance and addressed the crowd, vowing that all those guilty of criminal offenses will be held responsible.
The time has come for the return of the law to our institutions, that the state bodies begin implementing the law. Therefore, in the coming days and weeks, you'll be able to see not only the changes within the system, but also accountability for those who committed criminal acts and violated the law. This is not a threat, but a promise that our state will continue to exist, that we're going to protect the country, and the best guarantors for the safety of the country will be its citizens.
France is on the brink of political and economic turmoil as Prime Minister François Bayrou faces a confidence vote on Monday that could topple his government. According to Romain Leconnu from Eurocreative, who joined TVP World, there is no hope that Bayrou can save his position.
Looks like the final day for Prime Minister Bayrou, and we have to say that at the moment there is no hope, even from Bayrou himself, that he can be saved. So the most likely scenario, 99% of chance, is that Prime Minister Bayrou will be out of job tonight. It can take long, but what will be interesting to see is especially if in the political parties there is unity when it comes to the vote, especially to the center bloc. Will they all support Bayrou, even if they know he will fall? And also from the Socialist Party as well as from the Republicans, will they support or will they be divided? Because this will have an impact also on the next government and how easy or not it can be to form a new government.
A number of buildings in the Rembertów district of Warsaw have been evacuated after a stash of explosives and fragments of grenades and bullets were found in a local home. This follows an incident where two people who illegally entered a military training ground in the area were injured. Two civilians were injured in an explosion at the Rembertów military training ground on Saturday evening. Military police said earlier on Sunday that an investigation into the incident at the training ground has already been opened. However, upon the inspection of the two victims' home, officers found explosives and remains of munitions, prompting the evacuation of the area. Zoltan Niyazova, an activist from the feminist anti-Putin group Pussy Riot, has been apprehended in Poland. Niyazova is wanted under an international arrest warrant issued by Interpol in 2002. The activist was detained while crossing the border between Poland and Lithuania. The Interpol arrest warrant was issued upon the request of the government of Turkmenistan, a country Niyazova is a citizen of. Authorities in Ashgabat accused Niyazova of embezzling funds from the central bank during her tenure as head of the board of directors of a local bank and have been demanding her extradition since 2002. The Pussy Riot group has called on Polish authorities to release Niyazova and not hand her over to, quote, one of the most oppressive dictatorships in the world. Niyazova has been arrested several times in Croatia and Slovenia, but was released shortly after due to international pressure. Both Niyazova and Pussy Riot claim that Turkmenistan's government charges her against are politically motivated due to her opposition views, and that Turkmen government also uses Interpol as a way to reach its political opponents. The prosecutor presiding over her case said she will be questioned on Monday, with further decisions about her potential extradition being halted until after the process is finished. Pussy Riot, a feminist punk group from Russia, has gained worldwide fame for protesting against the regime of Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Eastern Orthodox Church. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's party, Fidesz, is facing its toughest elections yet, as most polls put the opposition TISA party with its leader, Peter Magyar, ahead in the incumbent government. Magyar promises to realign the country with Western blocs such as NATO and the European Union, while Orban warns of chaos and poverty if Hungarians choose the party that wants to play ball with Brussels.
It is clear that Hungary has only two options in strategic terms. We have to choose between them. Both are possible. Both have their own outlines. They have a clear body, substance, and you can choose either one. The first one is to join the Brussels policy. I think this would be catastrophic and would lead to chaos and poverty. We would simply hitch Hungary's car to the European train. The future Hungary will be a stable, predictable, peaceful country. A place where there is no need to fear either war or uncertainty, where there is no need to fear tomorrow. Our country will once again be an active and credible member of the European Union and NATO.
The staff of the London Metro began a week of rolling strikes late on Sunday evening over pay and work conditions. The action is expected to bring the underground network to a standstill and cause major disruptions for travelers in the British capital.
Between Monday and Thursday, there will be little to no service on all metro lines, as different parts of the trade union walk out on different days. On Sunday, Transport for London, which operates the British capital's public transport system, reported that the Bakerloo and Circle lines were completely suspended, while the Central, Metropolitan, and Piccadilly lines were partly suspended. According to the Rail, Maritime and Transport Union, the dispute centers around pay, fatigue management, shift patterns, and a reduction in the working week. Transport for London said it had made an offer to increase staff pay by 3.4%. At the same time, representatives of TfL said that a reduction in the contractual 35-hour week is, quote, neither practical nor affordable.
Aaron Patterson, who killed 3 people with toxic mushrooms in Australia, has been sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of parole after 33 years. The 50-year-old was convicted in July of triple murder for serving a poisonous meal to her husband's parents, as well as his aunt and uncle during lunch at her home in 2023.
At the time of the murders, Patterson was fighting her husband over child support contributions. Throughout the trial, the defendant maintained that beef Wellington was accidentally poisoned with death cap mushrooms, the world's most lethal fungi. While they can be easily mistaken for other edible varieties, the jury did not believe Patterson and found her guilty. Reading out the sentence, Supreme Court Justice said that the woman had inflicted trauma on her victims and families, and her failure to exhibit any remorse only aggravates the victims' wounds. Erin Patterson's legal team now has 28 days to appeal both her convictions and her sentence. They argued she should be given a chance to release after 30 years because the notoriety of her case would mean spending most of her prison sentence in isolation.
And that's all the time we have here on World News, but do stay tuned because there's more to come here on TVP World.